everyone, and welcome to our Shitty Questions podcast. I'm Melissa, your host, and tonight I have Unknown joining me and our special guest, Fuzzy Cat. And tonight's a special episode because we are officially at episode 5. So,
Woot woot.
yep, round of applause here. And yeah, so I just want to start off the podcast by kind of getting to know Fuzzy. She has a really interesting history, and we kind of want to talk about it a bit.
So sorry
We
about
cut
that.
I,
that out.
I thought
Um,
you were gonna say something.
No, my headset literally just shut off because I thought, okay, you're like, okay, here we go, three, two, and then there was nothing, and I was like, oh, well, are they doing stuff like in the background and like I can't hear it yet? And then I looked and I
Oh,
oh
thought,
no.
oh, my little light was off. So yeah, we're good now. Sorry
Awesome.
about that.
Cool. Welcome everybody. Second intro. We're gonna keep all this in, by the way. Yeah.
Everybody can know how much of a goober I am.
well, Fuzzy,
Right.
today we did want to talk about you have an interesting history. So one of the things you said was that you were a groupie of the band Poison. So tell us about that.
I worked at
Yeah.
Columbia House.
What was the lifestyle like? So, being a groupie, did you, or I'm assuming you were like always on tour or like always moving around with them. Like, were your parents like just cool with that, or like were they
Oh,
also
I was
like
26, honey.
roadies? Oh wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm old.
Damn.
Old. I'm old.
You
Okay.
look so young in the picture that you had sent us.
Yeah, I was
And
26 in the
I
first
just
picture.
assumed you were younger. Um
No.
wow. That's crazy. Um
So how'd you get started with it?
I worked at Columbia House with, and it turns out that I met the president of the Indiana chapter of the Poison Fan Club. And I was like, oh, hmm, they're coming, pretty soon. Do you have tickets? She's like, oh, we don't need tickets. I'm like, oh, okay. So I went
What?
and I met him or met Brett. Well, I met everybody, but struck up a conversation very awkwardly by telling him that he was a fairy. Um, so, uh,
What was
yeah,
his
and
response to that? Is he just like, "Hey, cool. Let's take a picture."
yeah, he's like, well, why don't you guys come back on the bus? So we did, and I didn't realize that we were going to leave. Like the bus was going to go somewhere. Like I thought, oh, okay, we're going to go and chat. I don't know. Um,
right.
Yeah, and the next thing I know, we're in Michigan, and I had to call into work and say, "I'm sorry, please don't fire me. I can't be back right away. I gotta find a bus station."
Wait, so you took like a
Wow.
bus with Brett Michaels?
Oh yeah, we went on the tour bus.
Okay, I need to
I
know
didn't
a little bit more about that. What happened?
realize.
Yeah.
Don't leave us hanging.
Oh
Give us the tea.
yeah, yeah.
Spill the tea.
Honestly,
So
I
like
honestly don't. Go ahead.
did you just
Sorry.
like stay on the road the entire time, or did you like come home every once in a while and like then
Oh
go
no, I
back out?
wasn't on the road. I was just his Indiana chapter.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So everywhere he went in Indiana that was within, like a 6-hour drive, um, I hit everywhere. I saved up my PTO and, when they came to Indiana, that was my thing.
Oh, nice.
That is
Because
really cool.
always,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
it
that
was
would
nice.
be roadie. Because when I think of groupies, roadies, I kind of consider it the same thing. So I always think of the people who like are always following them around on tour. I guess the classic, forget the word, but yeah, like the classic thing of, oh,
Yeah,
you know, they're
unfortunately, I
groupie.
was already a functioning adult, so
Right.
Just say, "Oh, I'm 17. I'm just going to go run away and live the rocker lifestyle." Um, I had a brain. A lot of them did not, but um, yeah, he was actually he's very smart, very smart. And I was really shocked when Rock of Love came out because they kind of made him douchey, and
Yeah,
he really wasn't douchey.
I remember
He
watching that,
was
but I
really
mean,
a kind guy.
was
I mean, he had been doing it for a long time, so I guess his had grown up a little bit, I
yeah,
think, from when they
because I
first
guess
started.
in from what you told us, the times that you were a groupie, like, they were past, just being like an 80s band. They were an 80s band that was still relevant, but
Oh yeah, they were still
like,
touring, still headlining. They weren't second tier and they weren't tribute.
yeah,
It wasn't the 10th anniversary of our farewell tour. Um,
yeah,
they were still doing a whole lot of 80s hair bands.
yeah.
Like it would be Poison, Cinderella. They toured with Cinderella a lot. They toured the best show that I ever saw him put on was Rat,
Ooh,
Poison, Cinderella, and um, Jamie's band. I can't remember the name now. She's my cherry pie. I don't know. I wasn't really
oh,
into that one,
Warrant.
but yeah, there you go. So yeah, that was a really awesome show.
Nice. So is that just like your genre of music, or has your taste changed, since then?
Well, I grew up in the
Obviously,
80s, so that was like everywhere. But
Mm.
I also listened to what I would have called more friendly hip hop when it first, like
Run DMC?
oh, well, yeah, but even before that,
And we're
and
gonna we're
but
gonna put up a
maybe
picture here as well, just so those listening can kind of like see a little bit proof here. Really cool.
Yeah,
nobody came close when I was a kid, so I didn't really get to do the whole concert thing until I was an adult.
same.
So, although I did
Uh,
see Ace Frehley in the Comets and White Lion like a year before White Lion became a hit.
I've only
So,
seen a couple bands in concert. I grew up listening to like punk, and of course my parents listened to like Pink Floyd and that
Pink
whole
Floyd.
stoner genre, and I listened, to Bob Dylan, George Thorogood. Um, so I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock, and although I enjoyed like 80s hair metal, I never like got too far into it. And my big thing was like punk rock, um, like the Misfits and other,
Butthole Surfers,
yes, the Butthole Surfers,
Dead Kennedy, Dead
Dead
Kennedys.
Kennedys, Black Flag.
Yep, yep.
Always wanted, and so like I'm almost 30, but always wanted to see the Misfits in concert. And for the longest time, like when I was young, they didn't tour together or anything.
Right.
And then there was like this one tour that happened like a couple years back, and I never like was able. They did Riot Fest in Chicago, and I think there was a Riot Fest somewhere else. It was like two festivals, and they were supposed to play, and I never got to see them. But by proxy of punk, I started listening to like ska punk, like Real Big Fish, Goldfinger,
Mighty Mighty
Aquabats,
Boss Tones?
Mighty Mighty Boston's, yes. um, and so I've seen Real Big Fish in concert with the Aquabats, and then I've seen Flogging Molly in concert, and then there's another, I guess you could say, internet band, and it's Ninja Sex Party and Twerp,
Googling.
TWRP. I saw them in concert, and it was awesome. It was amazing, especially the Aquabats concert was they had like called all the children to the stage and like they had these giant inflatable pizza slices and basically these kids got to like crowd surf on like giant inflatable pizzas and it was like the coolest thing and I was like, man, to be a kid,
Who's the best concert that you ever saw, or the best performer that you saw live?
I would have to say the Aquabats, because they were so interactive with the crowd. They had these giant inflatable beach balls, and like for example, the kids that like crowd surfed on a giant inflatable pizza. Um, it was just so lively, and even just like your normal garage or like local punk show was always cool because I always enjoyed the mosh pit experience because it wasn't like it was people beating up each other, but like when somebody fell down, you like stopped and picked your friend up, you know?
It was with love.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. How about you, Melissa?
I haven't been to a lot of concerts, but like one band that I'm like truly obsessed with is Jack Johnson.
Ah,
So yeah, when I found out he was on tour, I like knew he wasn't gonna tour for a while. If not, like I was like he might even retire. So I guess like I looked up like where he was on tour and he was like nowhere in Arizona. So the closest place was Austin, Texas. And I was like, okay, well, looks like I'm gonna have to drive to Austin, Texas. So I took a 16-hour drive all the way to Austin, stayed at a
Damn.
hotel. Yeah, I know, right? And yeah, it was the coolest thing ever. But as soon as I got back, he announced that he was doing a tour in Arizona. I was so mad after that.
oh no.
Yeah, so I like literally
Did you
went.
stay by yourself?
No, no, no. I did it with my ex at the time. It was
Oh, okay.
yeah, 16-hour car ride. Um,
Oh no.
Oof.
I
Oof.
Big
know.
That
oof.
hurt.
As soon as I got
So are
back,
you
it's like, oh yeah, just down the street he's gonna play. It's like, really? I didn't even go to that concert because I was already mad.
right?
But hey, at least I got to see Texas for the first time.
Was it the last time, or have you been back?
It was the first and last time.
Okay.
Lots of good
Have you
How
food.
been to
about
Texas?
oh, if I've
Have you
ever
been
been
to
to
Texas?
Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've been to Houston, been through Houston, I've been to Freeport, and I've been to Temple and outside of Temple, Texas. Um, I was gonna ask if because I know you and I are in the same time zone, and I wasn't sure if you were northern or southern U.S. So I guess that is my question to you, if you're from the north or the south.
Right now, I live in Wisconsin. I
Okay.
grew up in Cincinnati until I was 12, and then I moved to Indiana.
The furthest north, I live in Louisiana, and I grew up in North Louisiana, and now I live in Southern Louisiana. And I've been to Texas a handful of times. I used to do a LARP thing and live
I
action role
like you
play
more now.
for the
Yes, I like you
audience.
more now.
The one I did in particular was called Dystopia Rising, and it was a post-apocalyptic um, like role play. So instead of it being a fantasy setting, it was more of a modern, like, after the nuclear bombs had dropped and stuff, for any people who were familiar with the Fallout universe. Um, it was really fun. It was awesome. It was like this Girl Scout camp outside of Temple, Texas, and yeah, it was like a camping experience plus. So it was like not only were we camping, but um, we were doing live action role play, and I haven't been in years. They've apparently changed a lot of rules, so I'm a little behind on all the details, but it was always a good fun.
It's really cool. I've only been to Texas once. I dated a truck driver. We left
Ooh,
Indiana in a snowstorm and got to Texas to butterflies, and it
interesting.
was pretty awesome. Then we
Um,
got in a big fight, and he wanted to sell me in Mexico, but that was another
what?
whole thing.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I was a little, yeah, yeah. That was a
So have
thing.
you like so have you just like traveled a lot or
No, that was the. I do credit him for being able to see parts of the country that I would have not seen if I not been in the truck.
yeah. I've always kind of like wanted to be a truck driver for the fact of like seeing other parts of the country, but being an adult, I now understand that like there are various kinds of truck drivers. You have like your home every day truck drivers or home every week kind of truck drivers who drive like certain distances. Because as a kid, like always imagined, like, yeah, you just get to drive around the country and so on and so forth.
Yeah, he was an owner operator, so that made it even tougher because you could get loads in to like California, but you couldn't really get a whole lot out.
Hmm,
So, or New York is another one that we tried not to go. East Coast was hard to get a load out. So,
interesting.
yeah.
All right, so I do want to go through the shitty question, um, random question generator. And the
Hell
question I
yeah.
have for you guys is,
Oh, you have a generator?
yeah,
You guys are
totally new thing. I
fancy.
just came up with it on the spot.
Oh,
But let's see. Okay, what is the most recent life lesson you've learned, starting with Kat?
Ooh.
good or bad?
It could be either one.
Um, oh, can I go last?
You can definitely go last.
Yeah.
Unknown, do you have something?
um, ooh, life lesson. It's not like super recent or anything, but I would say I remember learning it a couple years back, and it was something more along the lines of don't. So if you're not gonna like work in a career that you strive for, if you got a good work ethic, don't always show your full potential because
I 100% agree.
sometimes showing your full potential can, screw you over, backfire on you, especially if you're like, doing 100%. And then when you do 100%, that's all they expect out of you is
Right.
to
Hmm.
do your 100%. So as long as you're, you know, not quite reaching that aptitude, you can use that as um, a bargain system. You work at a restaurant or something, and they offer raises. So as far as you don't put in your 100%, you have that bargain to slowly work your way up to better pay, management, something of that sort. I recently got a commendation for doing a good job in my recent work, and to myself, I was like, I kind of half-assed that job, but they thought I did good. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
that's all that matters.
yeah, I try not to take any like extra projects just for that reason because like I usually like don't go above and beyond. I just do my normal job and they offer like little projects here and there. I usually don't take them. But like every now and then and I try not to do them as much, I'll like take it on and they always like, give me like a gift card or something or congratulate me. And yeah, it's because I literally just do the bare minimum, and then when I do decide to do something, it definitely does stand out more.
Yeah, most definitely. And like that's one thing. It's like, okay, yeah, the gift cards are nice and all, but like, could I get a pay raise instead?
I go the opposite. I mean, I was brought up by my father, who was a late in life dad.
Yeah.
So he was quite a bit older. So, he lived through having polio and,
Oh wow.
wars and all kinds of stuff. So, um, if you flipped a burger, you flipped the best burger that you could because that's just the way you should do things.
Yeah.
So I tend to go all out no matter what it is. So I get shafted a lot, I guess. Because then when other people don't, but they're the ones that become like the cool kids
Yeah.
and the favorites and whatnot, then I got nowhere else to go. And then when I stop, which I just recently did, um, stop putting in all those extra hours and stop putting in all that extra effort and trying to help everybody, and be go team, now all of a sudden I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah.
most definitely. Um, I've I've would especially say like in nowadays, don't overdo yourself and make sure you make time for yourself. You know, don't put 100% into doing something that I won't say, or something that isn't necessary. Um, and when you do put in like 100%, that's what people expect of you. And I feel like that's the hardest part. And I learned that kind of young. Was like one of my first jobs. I would always, put in 100% and go above and beyond. And then I find out that Joe Blow that I'm working with is making the same amount of pay that I am, and
Or more,
he does half the, work that I do.
right?
And I got some wise knowledge at one point that was just like, don't show your employer all you can do, keep that as a bargaining tool. And I keep that in mind for any job I, go to. Like my current job, it's really easy, super laid back. And on top of that, my boss is cool. And he's also about not like overworking his workers. But still at the same time, I'm not going to show my, my hand,
Right.
and because he'll be like, oh, I have this work and it's going to be kind of hard. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, all right, cool, fine, I'll go do it. And then like I go do the work and I'm like, okay, so it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. So I just won't tell him, you know, I won't over exaggerate, but I just kind of keep it short and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and especially like if you do work faster than you should or you get things done faster, like I feel like they'll just throw more work on top of what you already have. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's always good to
Absolutely.
take your time and like, yeah, don't overdo yourself.
I've
Absolutely.
I've witnessed that firsthand working in a restaurant. And I want to say I saw a Tumblr post where somebody had asked about they had this new employee and he got done with his work. Um, before everybody else. Should I give him more work or let him go? And like the decision was like, well, don't, penalize him for being good at what he does. Whereas in fact, the other workers have just learned to spread their time.
Exactly.
Like you find more time to goof off or to make your work go a little bit slower. So the way you don't get cut early and stuff like that.
Exactly. I'm gonna go with my life lesson. So something recently I learned. Well, first of all, I recently bought a new house, and but before I bought the new house, I did go through a process with people. I I mean, when I was thinking of buying a new house, for example, I had like coworkers and just a lot of people tell me like it's a bad choice, like, house prices are going to go down. And like for as long as I've known, people have always told me that house prices are going to go down and to always wait. And since then, house prices have gone up. So,
Right?
yeah, every single time. So then recently I was gonna get a house, and I was trying to find something within my budget, which meant I would have to move to a city that's an hour away, and like the area's not as nice as the one I used to live in. And I remember telling my coworkers about it, and they're like, you know what, it's not safe for your daughters, like it's a bad choice, you're making a mistake. And yeah, I kind of felt like shit for a while, and I didn't want to do it. And then one day I just said, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm not gonna be renting an apartment or doing anything like that. I went off and I bought myself a house, and I don't regret it one bit. I absolutely love living here. And one of the coworkers that was telling me not to get a house, I found out recently that now she's actively looking for a house. So, I mean, just take people's advice like a grain of salt. I know that
Hmm.
quote gets repeated a lot, but it's true. Like, at the end of the day, you know what you need and what you want.
If for
For
any
that.
listeners out there, take everything we say with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Yes, please. Please.
And Fuzzy, what is something you recently learned? And it doesn't have to be anything big. Like maybe you learned like a new way to open a jar of mayonnaise.
Or a jar
Well,
of
now
bile.
I am wondering how many ways there are to open a jar of mayonnaise. But um, I learned how to plug in my Bluetooth headset.
Nice. I know you recently fixed your audio problem, whatever it was from the last time that we had hung out and
Right.
played Jackbox. And I
I got
remember
a
you
new headset.
mentioning, okay, because I remember just working with you and like trying to figure that out. And then
Yep.
when we had invited you, you were like, all right, yeah, I figured out my headset situation. So that's pretty
Yes.
cool.
That is actually, it is very cool. I know I'm so lame, but it really is a big, I don't
Oh
know, a
no.
big achievement. I'm very happy with myself.
Absolutely. It's not lame. It's really cool.
Okay, I got
Since
another
it's,
shitty question for you guys.
yes.
Okay, what is something recently that happened that was kind of like a what is it? Like a supernatural or like a strange experience where you almost felt like the universe or or God was talking to you or making a sign.
I like to believe in
Getting
karma.
invited to the podcast.
Nice.
Hey, maybe it'll be like a butterfly effect and it'll lead you onto Brett Michaels again. He will
Oh no,
listen to
that's
this
no thanks.
podcast and he's going to be
No thanks.
like, there she is.
Yeah, I don't think so. But good for that. I wish him the best, but yeah, that ship sailed. I'm I'm an adult, you know.
I'm an
I
adult.
yeah.
I really, I'm not really I like to believe in karma for the fun of it. Um, and astrology, but I'm not particularly a spiritual person to read signs. So I haven't recently really thought of something, but I like the idea of karma. And when somebody does something shitty to me and something shitty happens to them, whether it be um, coincidental or not, I always feel good from it. But I do have like mild superstitions, like walking under ladders and giving a knife to somebody as a present.
What? Did you say giving a knife to someone as a present?
Yeah, like as a gift.
Oh, I did that
Apparently,
for Dub.
That's what I was thinking of.
right. The superstition goes that like if you give somebody a knife and they don't quote unquote pay you for it, then there's a high chance they will cut themselves. So
We not giving people
What?
knives as gifts?
you give a penny in return, to say that you paid for it.
Oh, Nubs is gonna be
It's
covered
yeah,
in cuts.
it's like
Uh-oh.
a weird. I mean, he already has
Somebody tell
nubs.
them.
No, I
Maybe he
thought it
already
was a
paid the
good thing.
price.
Yeah, for those listening that don't know who Nubs is, he's a friend of ours. He collects knives, and for Secret Santa, he requested that everybody send him some knives. So we did,
Yeah.
and now like unknown's telling us this like wisdom that we should have known before.
He should have paid each of y'all for knives.
Well, I mean, if he gave me a gift in return, does that technically mean he paid for the
Right.
knives? Hmm.
Absolutely.
Bargaining? Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
that's more than a penny.
In return for the knife, he gifted you something back.
Oh, he absolutely did.
Right. So,
Absolutely did. So he's safe.
yeah, as far as I know, it's you just don't give somebody a knife without receiving something in return. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wonder I wonder where that comes from though. Like, what about all these people that collect knives?
Yeah. I
Well, they're
mean,
probably covered in cuts.
I was gonna say most people though, most collectors buy stuff, so they usually, they're not getting knives for free. I think there's like a bigger lore behind it. I'm not sure.
Hmm. Very curious now. So that does that mean like people that collect guitar picks, you shouldn't give them a guitar pick because then they're
That's
going to
true.
get calluses on their fingers or something?
And they'll become better at playing guitar.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah, it's fun superstitions. Because I'm not very
I think
spiritual.
somebody knew a knife collector and they just wanted their money back for the knives and they came up with that. Really bitter
Could be.
person.
Probably.
I'm still upset that I ordered him a really cool set of throwing knives too, but they didn't arrive. They put him to somebody else's house
Oh,
and they
what?
wouldn't give them back. Yeah. I finally got a refund for it, but I still feel bad because they were like hella cool.
Damn,
Aw, they
that's
wouldn't
nice.
give them back.
I know. No, they knew where it was, but they wouldn't tell me the address because I said, well, just give me the address. He can go over there and say, give me my shit.
Right?
But, you know,
I had a kind of an experience. So, this morning I woke up to go to the store. I woke up in a really good mood too. And as I'm walking to my car, I noticed that somebody left a bag of dirty diapers behind my car. Just a
ew.
big trash bag covered in flies behind my car. And like I'm pretty sure it's my neighbors because every time they throw parties, they like to stack their beer bottles underneath my car. Don't know why. Ever since I moved here like 2 months ago, I haven't said a word to them. I haven't
Maybe
really.
that's why. Maybe they're like, she's a rude bitch.
Well, I
Stuck
mean,
up?
I've smiled and waved at them, and they just kind of look at me when I'm throwing out the trash.
maybe they, well,
Um,
maybe they think you're rude.
they throw really loud house parties, and I never call the cops on them, so I don't know. But yeah, it got me really angry, and it kind of ruined my whole day because I was like heated about it, trying to think of like ways of like how to solve this so I'm not like constantly picking up dirty diapers behind my car. Um, Anyways, well, I was in the grocery store line. I was just thinking about it. I was like, I'm just so angry. Like, how can my day be so ruined? And then as I'm thinking this, all of a sudden, like, there was like a giant, like, so the grocery store only had like three lines, and they were just like packed with people, and I was like all the way in the back. And all of a sudden, a cashier just approaches me, and she's like, "Hey, I can get you over here." I was like, "Okay." So I go into I don't know why because there was like lots of people in front of me, but she singled me out. And yeah, I put my stuff in the conveyor belt, and then I noticed she put like a barricade behind me so no one can get in line behind me. And then they just checked me out, and I still am wondering why they decided to do that.
Hmm.
You were awesome.
That,
That's why.
Yeah, and I was
Because you're
just
a
like,
good
oh
person.
I like sat there and I was like, is this because I'm having a bad day? I mean, I wasn't like openly yelling to the
cue
world
the
that I was having a bad day.
cue the you had a bad day.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but like, why
Oh, I
would you
love
get
that.
one person, check them out when there's like a line of people, and then that's it? Like,
Maybe
there
she
was,
thought you were hot.
Maybe.
I guess.
Ooh.
Well,
Dun
even,
dun
and I thought it was
dun.
weird that they put like a barricade behind me, and I saw like a customer trying to like squeeze through, and then the lady's
Well,
like, "We're
like how
closed."
many of y'all were
Yeah.
standing in line?
There was like three cashiers, and it was just full. Like, I think there was like probably like four people in front of me. I don't know. It was like busy because it was like in the morning
Ooh,
where everybody goes. Yeah, and they literally she walked up to me and said, "Hey, come this way." Checked out my food and didn't let anyone else get in line. So
She was
strange.
interesting.
hitting
I
on
don't
you.
understand it.
She's so hitting on you.
Um, I don't. It was
Or
the
maybe she
bagger
knows you
Did
from
girl
she
that.
the.
let you use like expired coupons too?
Um, I don't know, but I should have bought a lottery ticket afterwards.
Not too late.
Exactly.
Too late.
Okay, next shitty question I have is who is someone you need to contact that you haven't?
I need to,
Hmm.
like I have to,
Sure,
or
if
somebody that I should.
however you want to
We could
interpret
probably
it.
go with should. I should probably contact and talk to my parents. I haven't talked to them in a couple weeks, but I don't know, don't have the motivation sometimes, or I'm simply forgetful. But I know that I've taken in past, talking to them for granted. But um, it's yeah, usually just as simple as like I think about it and I'm like, oh man, I need to call my mom or my dad, and then the day comes and I just forget about it. It's like I work all through the week, and then the weekend comes, and weekends are whatever. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, it's now at a good time to call, blah blah blah. But
Did they ever call
if they're
you?
listening, sometimes, and then sometimes it feels like a guilt trip. Like, it's cool. Why don't you ever call me? And then I was also raised like it's not a one-way street. Like, just because I'm not calling you every month doesn't mean you can't call me. I don't know. Maybe they're just making up for all the times that I didn't call them and they called me, and then so now I'm the one calling them back. But I know I introduced my mom to the podcast, so I don't know if she's listening. And she, nothing towards her. because she also sometimes doesn't know when the best time is to call me, so that's fair.
Well, if she's
And if you're listening,
listening, I hope she's not
shout
listening to
out, mom.
episode
I
one.
love you. She knows what she got into.
I would have to say probably my mom, but I'm not gonna.
I should probably
Because that
contact
whole guilt
my.
thing.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying I should probably contact my neighbors and tell them to stop fucking leaving shitty diapers by my front door.
At least confront them about it, or
I am not confrontational.
Well, no, but
do,
like I said, just go knock on the door and say, dude, somebody's leaving like
I
nasty
know, but
stuff.
like, okay, so the way the doors here work is it's like one of those houses where you have to go through a back gate to get to the door. And I
Mhm.
already feel like intrusive enough, like knocking on someone's door, having to go through their back gate to knock on the door would just
Why
be
would
like
you want to go through the back day? Do you guys not have?
it's one okay, so the front of the house faces like a main intersection. So no one ever uses the front. And to get to the front is a long walk. So everybody, including all the Amazon drivers, always use like the back gate as the front door.
hmm,
I used to do
Sorry
pizza
about that.
delivery and it's completely normal. There's just some houses that are
Like
different.
you don't use
you
front doors ever?
No, I've never
do
used it.
you,
Like strangers? I always thought that back doors were for friends and family, and
it,
front doors were for strangers and deliveries.
it depends on where you live at.
I guess.
I've been to places or lived in places where it was the opposite because like she says, like the front door is right in front of a highway, so no one uses that because the parking is like around the backside, so you always knock on
Yes.
the back door.
Because in order to get to the front door, you have to park on the back side, the back of the house. And then, because that's where all the houses are facing. And then you have to walk all the way through the row of houses, because these are townhomes. You have to walk all the way around. And it's quite a walk. So no one ever uses the front. I,
Oh, okay.
I only had one person actually knock on my front door, and it startled me. And it was like one of those ADT people that try to sell you security cameras.
ADT.
Yeah.
I
No,
bought a house. My first house. No, sorry, second house. But the first house that I bought like by myself, um, they had a security system, and I ended up having pneumonia at the time that I was moving. But you got to do what you got to do. So the stupid alarm wouldn't shut off, and I kept calling. I had to go to a Kroger's because when the alarm goes off, your phone doesn't work.
Hmm.
wait, why?
So I had to go, I don't know, I had to go down to the supermarket and use a payphone when those were still there. I don't even know if they have payphones anymore. I'd probably be shit out of luck now. Um, yeah, and had to argue with them and call the realtor to call the sellers, and they didn't want to do anything about it, and they didn't want to give the code, and it was just hell for 2 days. So all of
I,
my neighbors automatically hated me because it
Oh,
went off for 2 all weekend.
oh my God. Did they leave trash bags like behind your house?
No, no, they didn't. But I'm sure they all fucking hated me because it was loud as hell.
Wow, I don't
Mhm.
know what I would have done in that situation. Like my anxiety would have been through the roof.
I was so sick. I was so sick.
so Melissa,
But
does
yeah,
the trash, does it seem like on purpose? Well, okay, no, not on purpose. Does it seem lazily left there, or
So,
because I think of like sometimes you get the kids to take out the trash, and then like the kids just kind of half-ass it.
well, the
Because
thing
I
is,
was kind of that kid.
okay, so the thing is, okay, so this is how I came to the conclusion it was probably them. because the neighbors, okay, so the neighbors to my left, which is our like farthest away from the trash, they don't have any kids. So it's not like it was them because where would the diapers come from? And
Right.
yeah. And then the
So
neighbors
the
to my
loud house parties are the ones that
they
have
have
the.
a ton of kids, which explains all the
Oh,
diapers.
wow.
Yeah, they have tons of kids.
What shitty parents? Call child
Exactly.
services.
And
Jeez.
no, just to make matters worse, the reason why I don't think it was lazily left there is because my house is not on the way to the trash. You'd have to walk backwards. And the fact that they left it
Hmm.
behind my car, like it was kind of like behind my car between the shed and my car wheel. They left it right there. So they like I couldn't see it. So,
Was your house a like a foreclosure? Like, did their grandma live there and they're
no.
pissed at you?
No,
Or
so no, it was like this like couple and like they like they moved out the day before I moved in, and like I feel like they would have seen like a new car, new people. I mean, they've seen me before, so they know I'm a completely different person. I don't know
well, no,
why they're
that's what I
doing.
mean. Are you sure that they weren't like family or friends or something that got foreclosed on and they're
No,
pissed at you for buying their house?
no, I talked to the previous
Oh,
homeowners. Um, yeah,
oh, okay.
they're just like, oh yeah,
Huh.
you'll like the neighbors. They have kids and they're cool. And
And
Maybe
did
that
you
was just
say,
them
and
like trying to sell you the house. Like,
right?
exactly.
yep, they got great kids.
But
They
like,
aren't
And
pieces of
do you
shit.
guys think it was done with malice though? Because like you'd have to walk opposite from the trash to leave it by my door.
absolutely.
Like, why
Yeah,
didn't they leave
no,
it to the one on the way to the trash?
I think it's
I'd
malicious.
confront them.
But like, why? Like, I haven't talked to them. I haven't done anything to them.
Well, you should. Oh, that's right. You have the doorbell camera, right? But it
Y-
doesn't.
Yeah, but yeah, it's on the patio area where it's gated, so I can't see anything.
Hmm.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of was like a few days ago, maybe like I don't know, 2 weeks ago, they threw like a house party till like 5 in the morning. Loud music. I didn't do anything because I'm a cool neighbor. I don't give a fuck, whatever. But
Right.
like at like 3 in the morning, I just hear pounding outside, and I look outside, and it's like cops pounding at their door. And he's pounding on the door for a while. It looks like they don't answer the door, so he eventually leaves. So my guess is maybe,
Wait, the cop leaves?
yeah, he just left instead of. I was kind of annoyed because I
Well,
was
what
like,
are they
yo,
supposed to do?
I was like, go back there, like make them stop, because like I couldn't sleep that night. But I didn't call the cops. Someone else did. So my guess
Right.
is like maybe because they throw house parties
Oh,
every weekend, someone's been calling the cops on them, and they probably
and
think
they
it's me.
think,
That's
Well,
the only
yeah,
chances
thing I can
are,
think of.
if they have been been having these parties and been having the cops called on them, that doesn't sound like it's something new. You're new. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe they do assume it's you, but I'm just saying if
Yeah,
I'm wondering if that's maybe the other neighbors are using you as cover. That, oh, good. We got a new person now. We can call the cops and they won't know it's us.
right.
or maybe someone did something malicious to them because they're probably not very liked. Like maybe they did leave trash by their door, and maybe they thought it was me. I
Eh,
don't know. I'm just like in the middle of this. Like all I want to do is take care of my plans, make podcasts, you
And
know,
live my life.
live my life. Like I just chill at home. I try not to cause problems with people, and then this happens. And now
What
I'm
about
just
your kids?
I'm stuck in a what was that?
What about your kids? I mean, they must not be able to sleep either.
Uh yeah, I guess that too. So, I mean, I guess now I have a purpose to call the cops on them just out of spite now. And maybe the HOA
There you
too.
go.
Yeah.
Well, and the leaving bottles underneath your car,
Yeah, that seems a bit much.
Yeah, like
yeah.
literally stacked under my car. And like I've been nice about it and I like pick them up and throw them away. But like the
I'd start picking it up and putting it on their uh, porch or wherever, or behind their
yeah,
vehicle.
it's just such a bad predicament to be in because like I'm not
Of course
confrontational
it is.
and like
Do they seem young
yeah,
or
they're young and like
because
I always hear them fighting outside. Like they're always starting fights. So it's like I already know if I go confront them, it's gonna turn violent probably.
it's going to be
They're
confrontational?
that type of people that probably try to fight me and like probably key my car or something.
Right. Not if you key your car first.
So I don't know what to do.
Right?
Maybe get another security camera,
Yeah, I would
File a
say
complaint
but like with what
because if
proof?
it escalates, you know,
They're gonna be like, "How do you know it's them?" And I'll be like, "Well, I don't know.
it doesn't take
Looks
a
like it's
rocket
them."
scientist.
yeah, but although it may not take a rocket scientist in the legal courts, you gotta have proof and
Well,
whatever.
chances are, if they're pounding on the door and then leaving, this is not new. So they'll probably go like, "Oh, yeah, those guys. Yeah, yeah,
True.
they're they're trashy people. Sorry about the trash." You
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I think this concludes the podcast. Don't didn't mean to leave it at a
Awesome.
dark note, but I mean, if something
I
new
take
Oh,
happens in the
I think it was
I
development,
great.
take back my thing because my headset, I do not have it figured out because it keeps turning off on me, but it says it's charged, so I have no idea what's going
Oh
on.
no.
Anyway,
Um.
sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay. So I do have one random question, and I might try to make this a thing. But so it's something that's always bothered me when I see people driving down the interstate, and you're getting on the interstate, and you have the lane that goes on before you have to merge. And so my question would be, why or why not do you wait till the last minute to change lanes if you do that? Um, or even if you have ample space. Because I just find it funny to like watch the people just ride the lane all the way to the end before they have to merge. When I normally just merge or get over like preemptively.
I had an ex
Yeah,
that
I
used to do that.
preemptive.
I used to have an ex that did that all the time, and his reason was, I just want to cut in line and be the first one to the front. I don't want to sit in traffic. So yeah, he would like go all the way to the front and then violently merge in so people could let him in. I don't
Like
personally
And
do
I
I
that.
don't.
never understood that. Like what was the point? Because I understand you get over when you can, or the safest point possible. But why just ride a lane all the way to the end when you know it's gonna end, and you just keep going and then merge over at the last minute? Or same thing with just in regular two-lane traffic. It just always boggles my mind.
I call
I'm
it
gonna
little
learn
dick syndrome.
that. Would
When
that be
people do that, I always say, "Sorry about your penis." Can't prove it, but can't disprove it either. So I am going with everybody that does that has a little dick.
They probably do.
Yep, I don't know. I just always worried about that or wondered why people tend to merge at the
It's a
very end.
power thing, and also people are very selfish. It's the same reason why they don't stop for people in stops, like crosswalks.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I don't know
If
when
there's like a back and forth, like a 2 lane, and the other side would have to stop too, and they never do.
I don't know
Right.
why, but like when people get behind a car, it's like they change personas.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to the podcast here. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, tune in next time. And don't forget to subscribe and like that button. And join us for
Fuzzy,
next
it
time.
was great having you.
Yeah,
Thanks for being around. Thanks for gracing us with your presence.
of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Um, yeah. Goodbye.